warning for you. The end of times is near, and I will reveal you the secret that Jesus shared to those who want to survive the great tribulation period. Wars, earthquakes, persecution, despair, fear, and hunger will be some of the things you will have to deal with on a daily basis, and you have to be prepared for that. Stay with me until the end of this video and learn what the signs of the end of time are, how to prepare and how to survive this period in which people who don't know the information I'm going to share with you will ask to die. Have you ever stopped to think about what Jesus said about the end of the world? In the book of Matthew he tells us about this. Jesus spoke about the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem, false religious leaders, wars, famines, and earthquakes. See what is written in Matthew 24 verses 1 to 14. Jesus left the temple, and as he walked, his disciples approached him to show him the buildings of the temple. But he answered them, "Do you see all this? I assure you that not one stone will be left upon another, it will be all knocked down." Later, as he sat on the Mount of Olives, his disciples approached him privately and asked, "Tell us, when will these things happen? And what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" Jesus answered them, "Take care that no one deceive you. For many will come in my name, saying, 'I am the Christ,' and they will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but do not be afraid. These things must happen, but it is not the end yet. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All this will be the beginning of sorrows. Then you will be given over to tribulation, and they will kill you. And you will be hated by all the nations because of my name. Many will be scandalized, and they will betray and hate one another. Many false prophets will arise and deceive many. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of many will grow cold, but he who perseveres will be saved to the end. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached throughout the world as a testimony to all the nations, and then the end will come." Matthew 24 verses 1 to 14. Jesus began by saying that the temple, a very important place for people at that time, would be destroyed. This actually happened years later, in 70 AD. It was a serious warning from Jesus for people to be alert for the signs of the end. He warned about people who lied, saying they were true religious leaders. This could confuse a lot of people. These lies would be a sign that the end was near, and people needed to be smart so as not to be deceived. Jesus also said that the world would have many wars and news of wars. Although fighting has always existed, Jesus spoke of a time when it would be even worse. This shows that the world would be becoming increasingly confusing and dangerous. He said there would also be a lack of food, which we call famine. This would happen because of the fights and problems the world would have. It would be difficult for people to get enough food for everyone. Jesus even talked about earthquakes. He said there would be many such tremors in the earth. This will all be like birth pains, indicating that something new is about to be born. Jesus also talks about how his followers will be persecuted because of their faith, but that they must remain firm until the end. He warns about false religious leaders who will deceive many people. But he ends by saying that, despite everything, the gospel will be preached throughout the world before the end comes. And when that happens, then the end will come. Now, let's take a look at how Jesus' words in Matthew 24 verses 1 to 14 connect with the world today. All these signs pointed out by Jesus it seems very far back in time, but when we look around us today, we see surprising parallels. Religious leaders, who are supposed to be beacons of light and spiritual guides, often distort the gospel message in pursuit of personal gain. They manipulate the scriptures to serve their own interests, deviating from the path of truth and integrity. Furthermore, we have witnessed violent conflicts and devastating wars in various parts of the world. Violence and bloodshed seem to be a constant, leaving entire communities in despair and desolation. Natural disasters have also become an everyday reality. Floods, forest fires, hurricanes and earthquakes ravage different regions, causing destruction and loss of human life. The cry of wounded nature echoes in our hearts, reminding us of the urgency to care for and preserve our planet. And we cannot ignore the global crisis of hunger and food insecurity. Millions of people face the terrible reality of hunger every day, struggling to feed their families and ensure their basic survival. Meanwhile, food waste continues to be a regrettable practice in many parts of the world. And we cannot forget the persecution of Christians, which unfortunately is still a reality in many places and is a sad and alarming reality. In several countries, people are discriminated against, imprisoned, tortured and even killed because of their faith in Jesus Christ. It is a reality that confronts us with injustice and religious intolerance, showing us the often high price that some pay for following their faith. Now, I want to focus on the term, beginning of sorrows, mentioned by Jesus in this verse. This term is important for us to understand the purpose of these signs because Jesus himself warned us about them. The birth pains, mentioned by Jesus, refer to a metaphor he used to describe the events leading up to the end of time. Just as birth pains precede the birth of a child, these events would be like progressive and increasing pains that would indicate the moment of the consummation of all things and the coming of the kingdom of God. This metaphor suggests that the events that precede the end of times would not be isolated or sudden events, but rather a series of events that intensify over time. These events can include such things as wars, famines, earthquakes, persecution of Christians, distortion of the gospel message, and other forms of crisis and challenge facing the world. By using this metaphor, Jesus was teaching his disciples and all who heard his words that the end of times would not come suddenly, but rather would be preceded by a series of signs that gradually became more evident and intense. Now, have you ever stopped to think about why Jesus revealed these signs? Why did they warn us about the onset of pain? Before we talk about this, just check if you are already subscribed to the channel and like the video to help us bring more videos like this. Jesus revealed the signs of the end times for profound and significant reasons. Firstly, by knowing these signs, people can prepare themselves spiritually to face the challenges that lie ahead. It is as if Jesus was warning us not to be caught by surprise, but rather to be prepared to face what is to come, remaining firm in faith, even in the face of adversity. Furthermore, by speaking about the signs of the end times, Jesus was inviting us to look beyond appearances and recognize the spiritual reality behind world events. He wanted us to understand that human history is under God's control and that the end times would be a significant moment in the realization of God's plan for humanity. The signs of the end times also offer us instruction and guidance. Jesus wanted his disciples and future generations to understand the times they lived in and act according to God's will amid challenges and tribulations. He showed us the way forward, even in the midst of uncertainty and turmoil. But most of all, Jesus offered hope and comfort. Although the signs of the end times seem frightening, he promised to be with us until the end. He assured us that after the hard times, there would be a new heaven and a new earth, where there would be no more pain, suffering, or death. This promise comforts and sustains us, even in the darkest moments. Therefore, by revealing the signs of the end times, Jesus invites us to be alert, to see beyond the visible, to follow his example and to trust in his promise of redemption and final renewal. He guides us along the path of hope, showing us that, even in the midst of tribulations, there is light at the end of the tunnel. The signs of the end times lead us to be vigilant and spiritually prepared for what is to come, while also keeping hope alive in the promise of redemption and renewal that will come with Christ's return. In Matthew 24 verses 42 to 44 we read a very basic and powerful instruction, see. Therefore, watch, because you do not know on what day your Lord will come. But understand this, if the owner of the house had known what time of night the thief would come, he would have been on guard and would not have let his house be broken into. So you also need to be prepared, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you least expect it. Jesus' advice is that his followers should not be caught off guard. Just as a homeowner takes steps to protect his property against thieves, followers of Jesus must be spiritually alert and vigilant, ready for his coming at any moment. This passage emphasizes the importance of active faith, spiritual vigilance, and readiness for Jesus' return, which will be sudden and unexpected for many. And furthermore, it explains why Jesus himself revealed the signs of his return to the world. Jesus revealed the signs of the end times not to make us afraid, but to prepare us and give us insight into the events that will precede his second coming. He wanted his followers to be aware of the signs so they could prepare spiritually and live according to his teachings. By understanding the signs of the end times, followers of Jesus are encouraged to remain steadfast in their faith, to live lives of righteousness and love, and to share the gospel message with others. This awareness also serves as a reminder of God's sovereignty over the course of history and the importance of trusting him during times of difficulty and uncertainty. Therefore, The revelation of the signs of the end times is an expression of Jesus' love and concern for his followers, providing them with guidance and encouragement to live their lives in a meaningful way prepared for his coming. You cannot use these revelations as an excuse to be submerged in fear or stop living your life. On the contrary, Jesus is being clear in these verses. He wants you to know the signs so that you can prepare yourself, be strong to go through the period of tribulation and stand firm until its arrival. In 1 Peter 4 verse 7 we see another basic and powerful instruction: the end of all things is near. Therefore be discerning and alert, give yourselves to prayer. Here Peter warns us of the importance of being spiritually ready to face what is to come. By saying that, the end of all things is near, Peter reminds us of the transitory nature of this world and the certainty that one day everything will come to an end. This should not lead us to despair or fear, but rather to a posture of vigilance and spiritual readiness. The instruction to be judicious and be alert reminds us of the importance of being wise in our choices and attitudes, especially in times of difficulty and tribulation. We must be attentive to the signs of the times and act with discernment, making decisions that honor God and promote the well-being of others. Furthermore, we are called to dedicate ourselves to prayer. Prayer is a powerful tool that connects us with God and strengthens us spiritually. It is through prayer that we can find strength, wisdom, and peace to face life's challenges. It is also a means by which we can express our concerns, ask for divine guidance, and intercede for others. To do this, leave a comment saying, "God, protect me and my family," and use this moment to talk to God about your faith and this information you just learned. Prayer time is a conversation with God, and it is something we should practice every day. Therefore, in 1 Peter 4 verse 7 we find a basic and powerful instruction for believers of all ages: be watchful, be wise, and be devoted to prayer. These are practices that will help us remain firm in faith and spiritually prepared for the events to come. May we live by these words of wisdom, trusting in God's providence and loving care in all of life's circumstances. And how can we believe this? How can we believe that despite all this frightening scenario of wars, earthquakes, false prophets, antichrists, persecution of Christians, we will be able to get through this with prayer and vigilance? Well, that's a powerful and comforting message that permeates the entire Bible, this promise that God will be with us at all times. See what it says in Isaiah 41 verse 10, "Do not be afraid, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my faithful right hand." This passage and many others remind us that even when the world around us seems to be in turmoil, God is in control. He is sovereign over all things and has the power to act in the midst of chaos to bring comfort, security, and hope to his children. This message encourages us to trust God and not fear, even when we face difficult and challenging situations. He is our refuge and fortress, our sure rock amid the storms of life. Therefore, instead of being consumed by fear and anxiety, we are called to lean on the promise of God's sovereignty and find peace in his presence. He is the one in ultimate control of events, and we can rest secure in his unwavering faithfulness and love. It is no longer a matter of speculation, it is the reality before us. Every news story, every global upheaval, is like a flashing light, reminding us that we are on the threshold of something big. But although chaos may surround us, we must not give in to fear. These turbulent times are a call to a deeper faith, a broader understanding of the times in which we live. Jesus told us these things would happen, so we shouldn't be surprised. Instead, we should see these trials as the first signs of something greater. Just as the pains of birth precede the joy of birth, these challenges point us to the hope of Jesus' return and the establishment of his kingdom. And remember, through it all, God is in control. He is in charge, directing events according to his sovereign will. So no matter how scary the world may seem, we don't need to live in fear. God is always present, taking care of us at every moment. So whatever the situation, trust that he is watching over you. Psalm 121 brings a powerful reflection on divine control in our lives, and I want to share it with you, my brother. See what it says? "I lift my eyes to the mountains and ask, where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, who made the heavens and the earth. He will not allow you to stumble. Your protector will remain alert. Yes, the Israel's protector will not sleep. He is always alert. The Lord is his protector, like a shadow that protects him, he is at his right hand." The sun will not harm him by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will not harm him. He will protect you from all evil, he will protect your life. The Lord will protect your departure and your arrival, from now on and forever. Psalm 121 is one of the most comforting and popular psalms in the Bible. It is often called the Pilgrim's Song and is known for delivering a message of unwavering trust in God's care and protection. This psalm is often associated with travel or journeys, as it expresses the psalmist's trust in divine care during all stages of life, especially in times of difficulty, danger, or uncertainty. He begins with a rhetorical question: where does my help come from? This question reflects a search for help in the midst of life's challenges. The answer comes immediately: my help comes from the Lord, who made the heavens and the earth. Here, the psalmist recognizes that his source of help and protection is God, the creator of the universe, who has power over all things. The psalm goes on to describe the way God cares for his people. He is portrayed as a watchful guardian, who never sleeps or dozes off. This vivid portrayal of divine vigilance conveys a sense of security and trust. The psalmist compares God's protection to a cooling shadow that surrounds us and protects us from the scorching heat of the sun and the darkness of the night. Throughout the psalm, we find a series of promises of divine protection and care. God promises to protect our lives from all evil, guarding us in our departures and arrivals, both now and forever. This psalm portrays the psalmist's confidence in God's constant care and protection. He recognizes that God is the guardian who never sleeps, always alert and ready to protect us from all evil, both during the day and during the night. These words remind us that we can rest easy in the certainty that God is in control and guards us in every moment of our lives. Just as the psalmist lifts his eyes to the mountains for help, we too can look beyond bleak circumstances and turn to God for comfort and security. He is the creator of the heavens and the earth, the one who has power over all things, including the events that happen at the end of time. With God by our side, we can face the future with courage and hope, knowing that our faithful God will always be with us, guiding and protecting us amid the storms that may arise. Therefore, my brother, as we witness the signs of the times unfolding according to biblical prophecies, we must not allow fear to dominate us, but rather let hope inspire us. The glorious return of our Lord Jesus Christ is getting closer, and even though the journey is full of tribulations and challenges, we are sure of the victory that He won for us. In the midst of persecution and difficulties that may arise, we will find renewed strength in His constant presence. And in the face of any adversity, we will be sustained by the abundance of His grace, which is enough to strengthen and guide us at all times. So may we look to the future with confidence and courage, knowing that we are safe in the hands of our Savior, and that nothing in this world can separate us from His love and His promise of ultimate redemption. Thank you very much for watching the video until the end. Leave a comment about the lessons you learned from this video. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications.